All right, I'm just going to hang back for a second and pour myself some coffee and wait for chat to confirm that, in fact, I am live again. Again, there's always a little bit of a delay between the pre-stream and the actual stream. Let me take a quick peek at my preview. My preview would imply that I'm live. Yep, cool. Javier is saying I'm live. Plaxis is also confirming. Everybody says yes. All right. So hey everybody, I'm Joshua. Today is February 12th, 2017. Today I'm working on my video game Delver. As always, it's kind of been, the thing that basically if I'm not doing anything else, I do Delver. You can find out, oh, nope, there we go. The homepage is behind my head. It is delvergame.com. Delver is a procedural dungeon crawler with fantasy elements, RPG elements, and first-person shooter elements. If you want to check it out, we are available on Steam in early access for $7.99. We are also we have a Humble widget. If you scroll down the page, also for the same price point, should also get you a Steam key as well. Yeah, that's cool. So it looks like the chat's confirming I'm live. So hey everybody, Javier, the Plaxis, Mr. Harambe, Chris, Varntex, all you kind, and folks I'm forgetting too, the TGN. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me while I work. So kind of my usual regular weekly stream is I do a kind of a looking back over the past week, what things have gone into Delver. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm just going to just go over to my repo here for Delver, click get status. Yeah, let's oh yeah, open is the Mac OS equivalent of starts. There we go. Let's go into here and let's just oh, do I want to blow that away? I'm scared. I should back it up real quick. Let me just copy that here, and then now I'll delete it. So I think I have. Is Photoshop keeping a handle onto that? Let's try again. Is VS Code have a handle on that? Try again. Oh, VS Code had a. Okay, cool. All right, let's do another get status. We are up to date. Let's take a look at what Chad and I have been working on this past week. I'm just going to do a git log, do a one line, do a since 1 week ago with some pretty printing. And I think, let me make sure that this window is not obstructed by my big noggin. And let's go. Cool, so it's been a pretty productive week. So this is kind of with the gun changes, making item stack an editor property. Cool, so Chad said bows fire from held location, not from center of screen. That's cool. That also might have some issues. I think what we need to do, Chad, if you're listening, is we need to do a raycast from the camera out to where the player is looking, and then do a raycast from the held item position to that point to get a proper direction of where the projectile should go. And this should be done for both the wands and the bows. Otherwise, it looks a little odd, like if the arrow hits where you're not looking. So that's could be something, could be an issue. It looks like he has some debug stuff for there. Crosshair, more general purpose for weapons. Oh, so this is some cool work. Again, more fixing of that stuff. So maybe Chad has already done this work and I just haven't looked at it recently. I've been so focused on mod work and localization work that I kind of have been not paying attention to the other stuff. So it's kind of good even for me to refresh what's going on in here. Bucks 78 says, "Hey, he's back. Thank you for coming back to hang out with me while I work on my game." And Apia says, hey, Apia, thank you for stopping by. I'm just kind of going over the list of changes that went into Delver this past week. Yep, so there was a bug that I introduced when for weapons. So if you don't define a broken texture, it will just keep reusing the same texture for the weapon. That's okay. And then, yep, so I fixed, so guns, if you watch, I think last week sometime there was a stream where I figured out the guns were only doing 1 point of damage. So I fixed that. And Chad fixed the collision on them. Unique items now get properly merged in. That's pretty cool. So when you define custom uniques, they get put into the global uniques that you have a chance you get a drop from. So if you look at, if you folks are interested in modding, I have an example mod repo. It's http github.com/Joshua Skelly/Delver-example mods, and these are where just some mods I think can be helpful for folks to learn how to mod Delver. And this character story pack touches on how to create items. And this is kind of doing like a story pack in the same way that Dark Souls kind of does stories, where you just have a character's items that you can kind of find, and they give you little bits about the character without doing any direct narrative stuff. But also, it's a good way to figure out how to define uniques, and it has how to hook up like there's custom art for the items, and it shows you how, like in the data, you can define the sprite sheet to pull into that, and then you have the item definitions for all the new items. And this is something you can look at and reference. This is also, I want this to be a community effort. So if you are interested, for example, the Spanish language pack and the French language pack are being contributed by folks outside of the Delver team. So if you want to see something, you can go to the issues and you can create an issue and ask to see a particular type of mod. Or if you feel like contributing to the mod, you can always just follow these contribution guidelines, and we'll pull it in if you think it'd be a good resource for the community. So yeah, so this is a resource for all of us. And I'll try to keep that up to date with the best practices and all that good jazz. That's also nice too, because as we're running through all this mod testing, we're finding and fixing bugs that are making Delver better. Chris says, are there any example notes in the story pack? Not yet. I should go through and try to do that. So fixed item picking bug where player cannot leave code level. That's interesting. Okay. Fixing artifact build. Oh yeah, so we had some build issues that Chad went through and smoothed out. Yep, that's all that good stuff. Yep, this is just the merging of internal and external mod files. For some reason, I think during oh yeah, that's right. That little fella right there is Sammy. He is one of our two dogs. They're both named Sam, which is super confusing. But yeah, that's the little one, little Sam. Explosions. So I think somewhere along the line, I think maybe when I was doing work on the wands, I accidentally turned off the physics impulse for the explosion, so that's back on. So I think people who are doing potion jumps, that might still be a valid thing. Not quite sure. I also updated the editor, so now it actually, if you right-click on something in the editor and you say to JSON, it will give you like compliant JSON, which is really cool because you can throw that into a JSON validator and it will tell you what you've done wrong, which I have been using, and it's super helpful. Chad fixed. So we need to find a custom water tile in the tiles.dat. This just makes sure that the atlas pulls from the same atlas as the water, and some merge stuff. And Chad made the texture picker remember the atlas were last shows, so that's cool. It's just a little quality of life change for the editor. I think that, pardon me, is all the changes there, and I think we'll get to work. Chris says, haha, how did they end up with the same name? Actually, before my wife and I met, we each had a dog, and they both just happened to be named Sam. It's just total accident. Okay. Let me pop open VS Code. And so I'm still working on the sci-fi dungeon. So that's what we're going to be kind of working on. We'll probably do some pixel art, probably some 3D modeling. I'll do some JSON definition. I'll get into these kind of I like to think of them of like for computer science folks like a formal grammar style procedural generation for these things. It'll be pretty should be pretty light, pretty understandable. We'll go through that. But yeah, let me just pop open. Actually, let me real quick. Let me play Delver for folks who might not know what Delver is. I need to keep that in mind that um, there are still lots of folks who don't know Delver, and I should introduce them to Delver. So I'll play that for a little bit, and then we'll get to work. Okay. Apia says, hey, you should check if someone owns a game. People can easily refund the game and still be able to play it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's something that, like, people have pirated our game for many years now. And, like, I guess the fact of the matter is if people want to obtain my game without paying for it, they certainly can. And, like, I don't know, like I'd rather put my effort towards making the game as good as I can, rather than trying to stop people who are going to do, they're going to pirate it anyways. So like, I'd rather just keep working on Delver and making it as good as I can and keep updating it regularly on Steam, just so hopefully that it's easier just to actually buy the darn thing than to steal it. With our updates coming out for early access. And usually there's an item down here. Usually. Yeah, bread. Meh. But yeah, we mean we could be way more aggressive about DRM and stuff like that, but again, I think we just have the mindset like, I mean, we really appreciate when people do buy the game. It directly supports us. And for folks who don't know, I left my day job to be a stay-at-home father. So Delver is my primary source of income right now. Hey, like no worries, man. Like I totally understand it. Like when I was younger, I did it too. Like it's a situation where like I'm not gonna hate. Like people do it for various reasons, and I mean ultimately by supporting me, hopefully I can keep making Delver better, and then make also more interesting stuff in the future. And you're kind of directly helping me do that, which I certainly appreciate. Yeah. Oh man, I'm in. Okay. That's the thing. Like for us, like in the States, $7.99 really isn't a lot of money. Like nowadays, like I can barely buy a pizza for that amount of money. And where I live, I can barely buy a beer for that amount of money. But in other parts of the world, that's quite a bit of that's quite a chunk of change, So, I don't know. I just try to be understanding, Like, I mean, the fact that we have something that people think is worth, pirating is, something that speaks to its quality. Okay, I think when I hit the next level down, I'll start working. Just my standard little disclaimer, which is probably gonna be right up here soon. Ooh. Okay, let's enchant this weapon. Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, it was okay. And a ring. I need to sometime go through and redo the ring art for the character expansion pack. I have a I'm using both the inventory and this is the default texture. I think it looks better, making it look small on the ground, but making it look big when it's in your inventory. Um, Again, that's future Joshua work. I think when we're getting close to 1.0, I'm going to make a big push to like kind of bulk up the content in the game, and that'll probably be part of that work. Ooh, scroll with haste. That's fun, right? Let's do that. Pew! Joshua, go fast. Yeah, don't die. Yep. And I'm out of haste. That's okay. Bartek says an arena mode would be cool. More and more enemies over time. They drop the stuff used to survive. Yeah, that might actually be something you could mod in using triggers and stuff like that. I'm sure a clever modder could certainly do it. Whoa! Okay. This is a room that the computer decided to build because it's a little crazy, but that's all right. And I'm back here. Oh man. Nope. To my right should be where I need to go then. Ah, yeah, ran by you earlier, didn't I? Huh. Interesting. Is there no... Did it not generate a... It should generate a downstair. Weird. I think I've seen players report this, but I've never seen... This might be the first time I've ever seen it. Let me... It also could be the generator doing some crazy stuff. Let's do this. Let's turn on no clip. And let's go see where the exit actually is. Just make sure I didn't goof. Or maybe a faster way is I could go down a level and then go back up and see where it puts me. Oh, I'm just a dummy and I just totally skipped it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Sorry, folks. I have no excuse. I'm just a silly person. Oh, Sam Cube. Oh man. Hey Sam. How the heck are ya? Yeah. Buenos tardes. Sam Cube is the artist who has done all the beautiful illustrations of Delver. So when you go to the homepage, and I have a T-shirt that he made. Nice. Yeah, no, again, I understand folks' concerns with early access, and to be honest, you know, we had a bit of a rough time with early access. So again, to kind of cover the story of Delver's early access journey, because I'm old now and I like to tell stories, is about 4 years ago or so, Chad had begun working on Delver, and we had a little community forming around it, which was pretty cool. I was part of that community, and I was just replacing art assets, and because I thought it was cool, and you know, Chad liked what I was doing, so he put out a build on the Android Play Store of the early alpha version, and he earned enough money there to pull me on as a contract worker, contract artist. and I replaced a good chunk of the art. Around that time, also when I was working on replacing the art, Steam announced the Greenlight program, and the early version of the Greenlight program had no um, there was no $99 or $100 fee. You could just put stuff up on Greenlight, and one of our fans put Delver out on Greenlight. The problem is it was under his account as his game, so we had to contact Valve, and we had to have them remove it from his account. And then to prevent other folks from doing that, we put it out under Chad's account, and it just sat there for a year. And when Valve did the big batch of the first 100 greenlit games, we were in it, and our little hobby project became a second job, which is cool, but kind of unexpected. Um, and we worked on it at a pretty good cadence. Cricking out updates, I think maybe every month or two. At that time, I had left my home in the Midwest to move up here to Seattle to work for Microsoft, and that turned out to be a very demanding day job, and that really slowed down our pace of work. And then, after being up here a little while, my wife and I got pregnant. And that was really exciting and really terrifying at the same time. So for about um, like the 9 months she was pregnant and a few months after that, like I just dropped off and didn't work on Delver at all. And I was really fortunate that Chad was understanding, and he kind of let me have my space during that time. But unfortunately, the community didn't know about this, and I guess we learned the hard way about community management. So they thought the project was dead. So last July, my son was, he was getting to a point where he's old enough and he didn't need as much attention all the time. And I started streaming just to kind of talk to the community and show people how things are done. And that's been really awesome, actually. And that kind of brings us up to now, where we've been putting out an update every 3 months or so. We work on this in our free time. Again, I spend the majority of my day, typically from 6 in the morning to about 8 at night, parenting my son. Um, and most evenings I just pass out. So the weekend is really where I have the most time to work. Varntech says, I could probably make my face cam smaller and crop it. Um, does it matter? I guess I have the face cam just to, I guess, humanize me, so you folks know that there's a person on the other end of this thing, working on the game, and and to a degree, like struggling. Like there are things like, for example, the community management aspect. I by trade I'm an engineer, and I do art because I love art, but like community management I've had to learn the hard way, and like I do project planning and project management also. And I kind of know how to do it just because I've been in the software industry a while. But like again, these are just lessons we've learned on the way. Thank you, Sam. That's very kind of you. Um, Yeah, sometimes so Bucket 78 says sometimes the flyers go into walls and they ought not to. We've been trying to shore that up for a little bit. Um, but yeah, sometimes they go into the ceiling, sometimes they go on the floor, and they shouldn't. Um, if you're still experiencing that often, I'll file a bug on that. Um, Chris says, do you think Delver would have happened if Steam Direct was a thing back then? That's a good question. I don't know. It was a hobby project that was fun to work on. Um, but like when we got onto Steam like proper and people were giving us money for it, then like the relationship changed, right? Like I'm certainly way more committed to finishing the darn thing now than it was a hobby project. And I know folks who have hobby projects, those kind of like fall by the wayside as time kind of as time gets hard or easy. And maybe just the fact that we got on Steam has helped it the project live as long as it has. Um, and I couldn't. Oh, gotcha. Vartex is just saying, yeah. Sometimes, unfortunately, like stuff on my stream is blocked by my big old noggin. Uh, reset. There we go. Cool. So what I'm working on now um, are these sci-fi greebles, and the thought is let me hide this and hide this. So I'm trying to build this little set of blocks that we can snap together. So the idea is, like for example, this I've kind of designed them around this one being able to snap into the front of these. So if I um, kind of position it here and then slide it up, like this could be in the front of this one, or again in the front of this one. And in this one, it actually has a couple positions where it can live. So the thought is do I have both these selected? Yeah, there we go. So the thought is I get this many variations just by combining them like this. And I also want to, so Delver has ways of defining this. And also I want to, Delver can switch out the textures on this too. So ideally, like it would be something like this, and then the new textures would like combinatorially, like increase the way that we can do this. So I'm trying to basically have these 4 assets and 4 textures that can be combined in like many ways. So when they pop up on the walls, they kind of they provide some variety. Um, and Chris says, "Oh, goo water." Yeah. No, we definitely. So that should be fixed. So if I go over, like over here, grab the textures and let me just chop out a section here. And I could change the floor to goo, and now the trim textures display correctly. And if you pull it up, that works. If you push it down, that also works. The light does work on it too, so you get the nice green glow. When you step into it, it poisons you, which is um, it's a nice thing because you can just define what damage type it does, and it just works, which is cool. But yeah, I'm gonna play around with these little greebles. I started them on my bonus stream yesterday, and I'm gonna try to finish them up today. And then I was gonna also make a little prop to make like a little catwalk that we can put above these slime areas. So I might just be doing some pixel art and just kind of hanging out with chat today. So probably a pretty chill stream. So hopefully folks don't mind that so much. So what I've gone and done is for these. So image, open image. I've created just 4 copies of this, and I'm just going to kind of redraw them just with different variations. I'm thinking like a light, this is the light version and maybe a dark version. I also want to maybe play with the fact that we can do alpha, so maybe make this, the small one that snaps into the front, a grate. That can also be a cool way to go. Again, with my stream, like suggestions are always welcome, feedback is always welcome, comments, concerns. This is, just kind of a chill, educational stream. So anything about Delver, about game development, all that good stuff is cool to talk about. So Plaxa says, you need to change the feedback on the bows. They seem a little finicky. I had a really hard time being able to tell when I hit something, and it seems like arrows go through monsters a lot. So we have shored up the collision on that, and they always should put a little hit puff, and they should always play a hurt animation. I want to say they have been, since in the current update that is update 14, it's going to be coming out here in March. There was an issue where they would. It was really weird. I think we were doing the raycast in the wrong direction, so it would prefer things farther away. But that has been shored up. So the bow should now be pretty darn solid. But thank you for the feedback. Yeah, no. If you played the really old version, the bows were really bad, and we've been making efforts to really shore those up and make them as good as we can. So again, keep with the feedback. I'll say wait until this next update lands, and if the bows still seem finicky, please let me know. Yep, Chris nailed it exactly. Like, so yeah, for the grates, I do want to have an alpha on them so you can see through down to the slime underneath. That's exactly why I wanted to make them a separate model. Again, so you can have them floating over, because Delver can't do room over room. So that is a way to have the player like simulate room over room and just having separate models. Um, and also, yeah, with the alpha, it looks really cool to kind of look down and see the stuff beneath you. We kind of do that with um, the wood. Uh, we have a wood modular piece for bridges and stuff, and that kind of does that. And I'll probably copy how that works. It might not be. I think the wood has separate plank models, and this just might be a little bit more simple of a model. Again, trying to speed through this stuff. Like I don't want to get too hung up on this um, this new area, but I do want to, I want to use this new area to showcase what you can do with Delver, and also to kind of tempt people into taking a look at the workshop. So those are the things I'm trying to accomplish with all this work I'm putting into this mod that is optional. And it is a nice change of pace for me just to kind of still get work done in Delver, but still do some stuff that I haven't had a chance to normally do. Um, so Pia says, would you be interested in I translate the game to Greek? So yeah, that's one of the things we're trying to enable with the Steam Workshop update is for people to be able to release the translations as just normal mods. Because we like, you mean the truth of the matter is we can't afford to have it translated, and we don't know which languages people would even want. So we are just giving the community the tools to do the translation. I think Greek would be, I think it would be really cool. Um, there's going to be some more work that has to be, like you have to basically, if we look at the default font, because for the Delver font, I've drawn all the characters myself. So what that translates to is it doesn't have all the Unicode font characters. It has a subset. Basically, it has like 250 some odd characters, and these are just typically the Roman characters with the accents. These are the ones I've drawn. Um, so yeah, if you are really interested in doing the Greek translation, email me at joshua.skeleton@gmail.com. Also, take a look at the example mod repo. Let me go ahead and just paste that in chat. You can see how Louis Cal and Javier are doing the Spanish and French ones. So you can kind of follow along there. But you're gonna have to draw the characters for your alphabet, and you're gonna have to define them in a font definition file. But I can help you through that, and that would probably be a good thing for us to do before we actually release this update, just to see if there's any kinks in that. So yes, I would be interested. Okay. Uh, Let me see. Just drawn lines. Again, like sometimes these greebles don't necessarily make sense. They're just there to add decoration. In my brain, I always want things to make sense. Like I want, I don't know. Like I just like people build things for reasons, and I don't know. I just like doing a little bit of storytelling. Um, so maybe this is some sort of weird access panel. Don't know. Um, Heembon says Blender lets you paint textures directly. I never knew. Yeah, so I do. Blender can be. You can make it do pixel art. So there's um, if you're interested in normal 3D view, you can select an object, and down here under object mode, you can go to texture paint mode, and then under here for your brush, as long as you just go down to this curve, and you hit this rightmost option just to flatten out the curve so you don't have any anti-alias. And then I just turn my strength all the way up and turn off the pressure sensitivity. And yeah, you can do pixel art. So this has just been an easy way for me just to kind of do little props and um, just not really. I mean, it's nice. Like I can kind of stay in Blender. It's nice to be able to paint directly on here and kind of see the end result rather than doing it in Photoshop and then reloading the result and making sure it is what I want it to be. But yeah, I mean, Blender, it's a wonderful tool, but also there is a learning curve to it. It's taken me years and years to become proficient with it. But the fact that it is a free tool, I mean, I encourage anybody to pick it up and give it a whirl. But there is definitely it's going to take you some time to actually feel competent in the software. Let me just go ahead and make a line brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to hit the plus to duplicate this brush. I'm going to rename it to Pixel Line Brush. And then down here on the stroke method, I'm going to change it to space. So up here now, I have a pixel brush, a pixel line, and oh, I lost my pixel fill. Maybe I have to do something like, yeah, there we go. Save that data block even if it has no users. Yeah, again, there's just some weirdness about Blender you have to get used to. So back to our line brush. Okay. I mean, but I guess the same is true of any 3D software, really. They're just a lot of complex operations you want to do, and it's kind of hard to simplify those down. So I don't think that, oh, like this is a light in one instance, but maybe it's not a light in every instance. So um, we'll see how that goes. So let me go back to my pixel brush and just make it big. Just kind of, there we go. Let's try to block this in a little bit faster. Um, yeah, so Hemon says that they've tried to learn Blender and they've given up because it's hard. Yeah, I agree. I certainly gave up on Blend. Like I installed and uninstalled Blender probably like half a dozen times before it actually stuck. And to be fair, it has gotten better over the years too, where it is way more. Um, it is certainly a better piece of software now than say 10 years ago. Yeah, those were the 249 days. Testacoil is talking about. So this current UI, there used to be an older version. Yeah, that's the one I really cut my teeth on and really learned Blender. And that one was super hard because before the UI overhaul, like all the UIs were inconsistent with each other. Like it was really bad. Like sometimes terms would mean different things across different panels and stuff. So like you had to basically learn each tool like within its own context. But now things have a pretty standardized set of not only hotkeys but like verbiage, which is makes it much easier to learn. Again, I think I'm just going to go through and just black out all of these, and then I'll go through and just do a little detail pass. Hey, Guy, thank you for stopping by. No worries. So hey folks, I think I'm going to do 3 hours today. So I started at noon my time, which is about 45 or so minutes ago. So yeah, right now I'm just continuing on my work with oh, with just adding these props for the sci-fi area. Varntex says best way to learn Blender, YouTube and play around with it myself. Yep. I definitely watch tons of video tutorials on Blender, and I think cgcookie.com has some good ones, free ones still. Um, and it's just like for me, it was just like um, watching tutorials over and over and over again. It kind of just beat it into my head, like uh, all the hotkeys and just kind of a workflow of how to get stuff done. So this one is this particular piece is designed around the fact that this little piece can be snapped in two different locations on the front. So I have to kind of keep that in mind when doing the art for this. I still want to maybe probably keep. mm, I think it was those lines actually. I think let me pixel brush. I think that is the case. So I think it's this here and that there, and I'll double check before I get too far along. The one thing is bad is like Blender's the fill brush doesn't respect actual pixels. It just fills in all the geometry with one color, which can be good, I guess, in certain situations, but in other situations, it would be nice to have that functionality. That's all right. I'll just use a fairly large brush and just paint this in. I don't know, like this sort of art is nice and calming for me because like I already have a style established. I already have a palette established. I'm just kind of working and just kind of like filling out these weird little things I think should live inside this world I'm building, which is kind of is fun and nice. I'll quickly turn on the wire display here so I can figure out like where I want these little highlights to go. Just so I'm not guessing, because I do have lighting turned off, so they all are just flat shaded. There we go. And then something like that. Like that. Oh. Pia says, why aren't you using a voxel editor and why are you using Blender instead? Because Delver isn't, it's not voxel art. If you look at, it's just low poly. If you look at the actual Delver props themselves, so I'll pull up in the, this is the props master file. So if I look at like, for example, like we have lots of angles and stuff you can't really do well in a voxel engine. So we have angles and we have, you know, we have things like this chain is a plane with a texture on it, so an alpha. It's just a low poly style. It's not voxel. Hey, Suitin22. And I mean, I've tried doing voxel art. It's okay. It's just I don't know, like maybe I haven't spent enough time with it to become like fast and kind of know all the ins and outs of it. Okay, and then let's turn off the wire and then go back to object. Let's black out this little son of a gun. See, like how I was saying, if I go, let's add another tool. So let's go back to our pixel brush and then add a new tool. This will be our pixel fill brush. Okay, and then I need to add, click this F to keep it around. Blender has this weird concept of data blocks. So you can define brushes and other objects like brushes and images that live in data blocks inside a Blender file. And if there's no external source to them, if you don't click this save this data block, when you exit and open up Blender, all that stuff gets dumped out of memory, which it takes a little bit of getting used to. And then conversely, if there are things like there's a texture definition, you want to just delete that texture, you really can't. You have to make it. You have to get rid of all the users of the texture and then save it and reopen it. So there's some weirdness around that as well. But this is going to be a pixel fill brush, and what we want to do is go down here to brush, and then image paint tool, and make it a fill. So now I can just fill that in. So I'm slowly getting these little pixel brushes here for Blender. Let's turn on wire real quick. Let's get the highlights put in. And again, this is just the particular style I've kind of created for this dungeon area, and it's actually different than even Delver's style. Again, because this isn't going to be like part of like Delver proper or like the main canon of Delver, it's just going to be a fun little side thing. I don't really feel too obligated to make it totally agree with Delver itself. Just making art. Okay, so yeah, what to make this little one? Again, this is the little doodad that kind of gets slapped on the front of things. So here, let me go ahead and just I'll save. Let me go ahead and save image, and if we go check our project here, we should have greebles 0, greebles 1. So I need to flip those around. That's not quite right. Yeah, let me rename those real quick. I think Blender goofed on that, or at least maybe I didn't specify, so I goofed on that. Find, nope. Reveal and Explorer is what I want. There we go. And so greebles, this should be 1, and this one should be 0. Cool. And then what I can do is for up here my data definition for the entities, for these greeble entities. Now what I can do is I can make their texture a comma separated list. The Boyle says, do some random light buttons. You can make that little one a grate that has alpha. Yep, the little one was definitely going to be great with alpha. So yeah, maybe I'll just go ahead and do that for this one. Yep, that's exactly what I want to do. But just to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about here, so I make some sense. For this texture file, I can say comma v, and then I could put in greebles 1. Maybe just copy this. And then I don't want, this is the, greeble 1 is the light. I don't necessarily want to do that. I'll do it for the one that isn't the light. So this one, greeble 1b has this light entity attached to it, but this 1a is not. So I'll paste that in there. The greeble 2 and greeble 3. Let's save that, and then let's fire open the editor and see all this nonsense, what I'm talking about. Okay, so if I open my example mod, I have a test level I've been kind of testing this all out in. So if I right-click, add a prefab generator, or example meshes, greeble 0, you see that this chose to be this particular skin. So if I hit play, it should flip back and forth between the dark and the light version, which is cool because you can do something like you can put these up here, and you get just cheap, very cheap variation. And you can also combine this with how prefabs work too. So up here you can put greeble 0, greeble 1, greeble 2, and greeble 3. So not only will this pull from the different, yeah, there we go. So now whenever you play, not only do you get a different mesh, you get a different texture. Again, this is just to get really cheap and quick variety. It kind of looks a little crazy because normally I wouldn't throw them up like that. I would put them kind of in specific spots, Maybe make it look a little bit nicer, like something like maybe kind of every other. I don't know. Or maybe not with this much variety, but something like that could be cool. It's just to make the areas just feel a little bit different every time you play. And then I can make these kind of build themselves out too, which is what I want to do with this little snapping thing in the front. But that will come in a little bit. So let me finish off. Let me see. Let me finish off these two, and then I'll make this one into a grate. Cool. So object mode, let's go to this one. Texture paint. What do I want with this? I guess I shouldn't overthink it. I should just do something like, I can mean, the simple pattern I have been doing is just kind of having these sorts of things here, just again, adding a little bit of visual variety. Also, that's the thing about designing these props too, is you don't want them to be too unique. Um, you want a balance between being so generic they're boring and being so unique that they look weird when they're plastered all over the place. You have to find that balancing act somehow. That's okay. And then this one I wanted to maybe do the kind of go with the grates I had up there. So something like this. Let me go to my line tool. Then make either side here a grate. I think I need to. Is it every other? Yeah, there we go. Then let's go to my brush. Just fill this in here. Maybe make my brush just a touch bigger. And then I think just kind of do that to indicate just a little bit of, like they are kind of dipping down a little bit. Or there's some sort of maybe occlusion happening. Is all that's trying to hint at. And then maybe in the middle here I'll have some sort of little panel or something that uh, controls these vents. So that way, if there's there's probably going to be a good chance that it gets covered up by the small thing. So again, there's also a chance that the small thing is something that's interesting too. So who knows? Let's do, come on. That. Something similar down here. Again, I for some reason I gave like unique texture space to both sides of these, and like they probably don't need it. I think the one up here I ended up not giving unique texture space to both sides. Yeah. Okay, and then something in the middle here that's cool. I could actually make it go for a contrasty bit and make it like a light colored panel. That might be nice. Just have a little pop of color, or at least contrast, not color, but value change. There we go. And maybe for the heck of it, just chop this panel in two for some odd reason. I don't know why. Man, having a tough time with that. The Blender color picker is a little weird. That usually with color pickers, you hold the pick button and you tap. With Blender color picker, you just it picks on hover, if that makes any sense. So it actually continues to pick until you release the key, which is takes a little bit getting used to. Let me see what can I do with this to make it look a little more interesting. There we go. All right. Let me go ahead and say image save as image, and then make sure to save it as greebles _1. There we go. All right, now to make this a great. Actually, give me a second. I need to take a quick break. I've been going about an hour. I'll be right back in just a short moment, and then we'll figure out how to do, either do alpha in Blender or do it in Photoshop. And I'm back. All right. Let's see if I can get this thing to actually do a great like I would like it. Yeah, Javier, I tried writing a quick little script to drive it, but I mean, yeah, it would be nice just to have a default time. But again, it's one of those things like I hacked it together and it works well enough that I'm not going to bother with it. Um, okay, so does Blender have a good concept of actually painting alpha transparency is my question. So if I were to go here and ooh, it has alpha ticked, but up here in the picker it doesn't actually. When this is disabled, lock alpha while painting. Yeah, this might be something I have to just do really quick in Photoshop. So let me try that. Let me go over here to Photoshop and let me open up engineer assets mods legend section textures example. There we go. Let me just real quick go in and E and let me erase some stuff here. I don't want magenta. Oh man, that's way too thick, yeah. It's gonna be interesting trying to figure out like what's a good balance between how much um, alpha and not alpha. So it could do something like that. So let me just real quick save that and then pop over to Blender. Over here in the texture window, you can hit Alt-R to reload it. I'm probably have to fiddle with my material now a little bit to make it actually respect alpha. Or is it a... Oh, okay. That seems to make it work okay. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe I ought to uh, it's also interesting how the shading works on this too. Yeah, Chris, definitely need to make the model double-sided. What Chris is referring to, if I go over here and I tick on backface culling, it shows you like the when you render triangles in 3D, they actually have an orientation, and they only are shown one direction. So a quick cheat is just to duplicate the geo and then flip all the normals. Then my question is does Blender even know how to? Ooh, yeah, I flipped over to yeah, in texture paint mode. I don't know if it understands alpha super well. Let's turn off mip maps. Yeah, some of these buttons are a little magical. There we go. Oh well, I'll just fiddle around with it until I get something I like. That may work out okay though. But I think what I want to do, let me just go back into object mode. I might have to do something where I flip back and forth between Photoshop and this, which isn't ideal, but um, we'll see. I'm going to try to quickly see how this is going to work. So this looks to be a space of 4. If I go all the way out here, that seems to work out okay. Let me just see what that looks like. Okay. Yeah, this is an example mod for Delver. For the March update for Delver, we are lighting up the Steam Workshop support, so you'll be able to create mods and host mods on the workshop and play other people's mods pretty darn easily. So this is an example mod showing what you can do with Delver. This is also open source, so you can look and see how it's done. Let me try adding some shading on this and see if it looks bad. I won't. Yeah, it's my skeptical face going on right now. I'm definitely going to have to rethink how I'm doing my highlighting because this seems awkward right now. And by awkward, I mean it probably looks bad. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not super awful. I missed a row there. I think it's heading in an okay direction. Let me just try tweaking some stuff, see if I can make it make a little bit of sense. What if I made a selection here and then just bump the whole darn thing up? Maybe that would help. I don't know. Hmm. It's looking okay-ish. Ish. Yeah, so the grades need to agree, and I think the highlight should probably wrap around. Let me try fixing all this junk. Okay. Erase this stuff here. But maybe just put another little tiny highlights here. Let's save that, reload it in Blender, and see if we're getting closer. Yeah, it's not super terrible, I don't think. Hopefully not. Now let me extend the shadow over there. I could probably live with it. Let me just clean that up, and that would probably be enough. I mean, it would be. I think we just double check real quick just to make sure that like it's going to do what I think it's going to do, but I think it will. Yeah. So hopefully it will add just a little bit of interest. Yeah. So this might actually work out okay. Um, that's always the interesting part of this is trying to find stuff that will work. Just exploring the possibilities. It's fun, but also it's a little like sometimes I feel really bad. Like if I do a lot of explorations on the stream and I end up not finding a solution I like, I feel bad for you folks having to suffer through and watch. But I mean that's also I guess I'm trying to give an accurate portrayal of what game dev is like, and sometimes trying to figure out what's the right thing to do is hard, and it takes up way more effort than you think it's going to. It's always interesting. Like if you show me something, either like a mechanic or a piece of art, I could probably just easily replicate it. Like once it's already discovered, it's pretty easy to reproduce. It's just the actual act of finding it is tough, and I don't like those. So let me just get rid of those. I think just on the edges is enough. Yeah, there we go. Yep. Um, Maximus the Greatest says, "Have I ever tried pixel textures on non-blocky 3D models?" Um, uh, I'm not quite sure what you mean. Can you elaborate? Yeah, that'll be good. Let me save this. Save image as, and this needs to be greebles1. Yep. Let's pop into Delver and actually see what this looks like, just to make sure that I'm not totally off base. So file, open, mods, there we go, levels, load, and So Max was great to provide an example. I've kind of done stuff like that a little bit, particularly, but for Delaware, it's pretty low poly, pretty pixely. Trying to think of an example of something I've done recently that would, um, I don't know, like when I'm working with pixel perfect textures, I tend to try to keep all my vertices aligned to the grid. So let's place, I think it's greeble 2. Yeah, there we go. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to the texture file and just delete the alt texture real quick, just so it's always this. Because I don't want it changing on me. So I think it looks, I mean, it doesn't look awful by itself, but I think that the real power is going to be when we start combining it with other things. So let's place an entity. Example mesh is greeble 3, I think is the one that really would look cool with it. Let's snap that one over here and then pull it up a little bit. Make sure I actually got it flush with the wall. Yep. Pull it up. This really should live like in front, like that. So I hit play. Yep. Sometimes I don't know, like it's I don't know, like I guess it's kind of hard to read. I don't know. I don't know. I'll leave it for the time being, but I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. Yep. Yep. So yeah, actually let's hook these up so this actually generates in front of this sometimes. Hey Ned Bolter, thank you for stopping by. Okay, so what I need to do is this can live either here or it can live a few uh, increments down on that side. So I want to basically create a prefab for greeble 3 that has 3 variations, uh, either of these and without. So let's do that. And actually, I might leave the editor up just to get my spacing correct. Actually, let me do something like file new, and then I'm going to right here in the center. I'm going to drop greeble 3. Actually, let me place them as prefabs. Greeble 3. So if I right click and go to JSON, that should just be, yep, pretty minimal. And then what I want to place is greeble 2 in front of it as a prefab. And then hopefully this will, oh crap, they're going to have a hard time picking, aren't I? Oh, well, let me, oh, I got it. Okay, cool. So I want to position this and then group them together so I can get the offset for greeble 2. So right click, group together. Now I can click the group and to JSON. And then, yeah, this gives me the offset for this greeble 3 prefab. So I'm going to copy all this, and I'm going to go into greeble 3. And let me see. Actually, real quick, I'm going to copy this and paste it. This is going to be greeble 3 alpha. How did I do it up here for greeble? So greeble 1 is a prefab that chooses from those. Okay, so then I'll do a similar thing here. And I'll copy. but those are prefabs. They're not necessarily. So let me copy that. Let me paste that. And let me delete the last position property because that sometimes screws things up. Come on. Clean up my JSON a little bit. Let's give this a name. It should be something like greeble 3 Bravo. And this should be greeble 3 Alpha. Okay. Oh, wait, I think it did the other way around. So let me. So I want these offsets to be on greeble 2, which is the little one. So I paste that there, and then I have to flip these, I believe, so they're relative to this one, not the other way around. This should be greeble 3 alpha. Let's save that. Let me run this through a JSON validator real quick to make sure that I haven't messed that up too bad. Process, copy, paste, save. And let me relaunch the editor and see if we can actually get, if this will actually do what we want it to do. Okay, so let me, if I right click, place prefab example meshes. Oh, need myself way more room. So entity example meshes. I think it was greeble 3 Bravo. Is that the right one? Yeah, there we go. So that's the one. Cool. That seems to be in the correct place. I think I would just flip the y-axis. I'll get the opposite one. So let me try that. So let's go here and let's copy greeble 3 Bravo. Let's make it greeble 3 Charlie. And then the y-axis flip. And then what I want to do for this vanilla greeble 3 is something that's similar up here to this greeble 1. It's just going to be a simple prefab definition that pulls from the prefabs. And this is going to be greeble 3 alpha, greeble 3 Bravo, and greeble 3 Charlie. Save. And let's run this, see what we get. Let me open up, let me real quick make sure, no errors, that's good. File, open, mods, let's open up our test level. So now if I place our prefab example meshes greeble 3, and kind of smash it against the wall here. And then maybe I can make a couple of these just to illustrate what's going on. Sometimes the snapping is a little funky in Delaware. You just got to be careful when you drag it left or right. Sometimes it wants to jump around a tiny bit. I think that, oh, they're all flush against the wall now. There we go. I think they're just off on the z-axis now. Just trying to line these up so we can see. So now if we hit play, yeah, this is working correctly. So there's a one. So there's a 1 in 3 chance that it will have these little greebles stuck to the front, and we can just play with the percentages just by. I'm trying to see, is there a variant where they go to the right, or does that never happen? They don't. That should be greeble 3 Charlie. Let me see if I got that one actually hooked up correctly. No. So it looks like I messed that up, and it should be not the Y, but the X axis. So uh, let me fix that. So here on 3 Charlie, I need to, not that, that? Let's try it. And also, while I'm working, I wanted to, let me see, I wanted to ask you folks, I think next Sunday, I have, um, uh, my son has a swimming thing that I want to go to, and I'm curious if you would rather me stream earlier or later on the day. So feel free to let me know which way works better for you. I'm just kind of curious. So let's just go ahead and place prefab 3 Charlie. There we go. Perfect. So that is doing what we want it to do, where it's on the right side. So now if we place the base prefab, just greeble 3. Now we should get all kinds of variety because they should pop, they have a 50% chance of being either the light or the dark, and then you have a chance of this little greeble being put on either side of the big one, and then you have a chance of the different texture, which I think is cool. Yeah. Let me think. It would be something like maybe 3 hours earlier. So instead of doing like noon to 2, I do something like 9 to 11 or 9 to 12, my time. Um, yeah. So those are working like I want them to. I think go ahead and just. I also want to pop in a definition for. So if I place an entity example mesh, or sorry, prefab example meshes greeble 0. I also want these guys to snap on the front of this one occasionally too. Um, but I also, so I could play around with, it should be the same height actually, so I could just probably just copy the Z component. There's only just one variation, but also with this, I want to do and greeble 3. I don't think I necessarily want to have greeble, the second greeble by itself, because it's kind of like an additive element. So I think the 3 big ones I think make the most sense there. Yeah. So let me just right-click to JSON. It's not a very difficult definition. Let me copy that, and then I will just make like a master greeble, I guess. So above greeble 0, I will create just another greeble. And this is the one you can place if you just want it to be whatever. And then for this greeble 0, I want to do a similar treatment. So something like, let me copy, paste. This will be greeble 0 alpha. This will be greeble 0 bravo. And so the first one needs to be the prefab one. I grab the, yeah, greeble 0 needs to be something like this. Paste. And it needs to be greeble 0 alpha and greeble 0 bravo. And this alpha needs to be the one without the little covering plate, and this one needs to be the one with the covering plate. So I can just copy, say, this one, because it should be, this is a group, so we copy all this. And this is for greeble 0 bravo. So that needs to look like this. And it's a group, and the first entity is greeble 0 alpha, and, oh, sorry, 3, no, 0. And the second prefab is the greeble 2 with no X component, I think, or X or Y. Let me try this and see if that works. Oh, cool. Hey, Anton, you're working on a procedural game as well. Yeah, it's always interesting to see how folks do their generation and variant stuff. So place entity example meshes greeble 0 bravo, and it is I zeroed out one of the things I should have zeroed out. Okay, let's try. I think it's the Y I need to keep, maybe. We'll see. Okay, yeah. So if folks are okay with me streaming a little bit earlier, that would be cool. Because I really like. It is nice that you know, my wife and my son go to swim classes every Sunday while I stream, so I have a little bit of, you know, so they have their own time, and that I have you know, time to work, pretty undistracted. But also, like, I'm missing out on his like him learning to swim, which is really cool that, you know, he's getting a chance to do that. Cool. That's not quite the correct height, so let me fix that. So let me just place it as an entity. Example meshes 0 bravo, and then I can right click and ungroup it, and then I can select this one and then just push it up on the, oh, ooh, Joshua didn't design this one super well. So it needs to go up one more pixel. These are, yeah, so let's just do the math real quick. Let's look at our project. This is on the Z. Calc. So it's 1 divided by 32. Plus 0.1233865. Let's copy that and then paste that there. And let's save that and then see if that actually gets us what we want. Pretty sure I did the math right. See you, Plaxis. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Okay, again, I right click, place entity, example, 0 bravo is what I'm working on. And it looks like that actually is correct. That's where I want it to be. Cool. So let me go to my like my test level file open, and I should probably just go ahead and save the work I've been doing on these test levels. So mod levels. Let me try to find a reasonable place to put these greeble parts. So if I place prefab, example meshes greeble. So I want these to be fairly easy to use. You just kind of slap them wherever you want a little bit of detail, and the game will just throw in something for you. And I guess you don't want to overuse these, but hopefully they allow me to have just a little bit more interest kind of being created here in the level. Turn that there, kind of slap it against the wall. And then, well, maybe one on the other side here. Don't want to go too crazy. It's always like a temptation that when you have like a new thing, you just want to like use it everywhere, but maybe just a couple of these. And maybe if this one actually aligned to the wall, that would be good. There we go. And of course I goofed up and, oh man. Okay. Let's put a copy over here. And turn it. I think that's right. And of course, these are just a very simple example of the things you can do with this. You can make it way more complicated, but these are just some basic shapes, basic stuff to make it go. You can also put these on the ceilings too, I guess, if you wanted. Nothing stopping you there. Cool. These are kind of a smaller detail. Maybe it would be nice to also have some larger details to do a similar thing as well. Okay. So let me go ahead and save this level. File, save. Maybe for the light, there makes sense to have that little thing there too. So let me look at this. I think greeble. Looks like greeble 1 is the light. Yeah, so Anton is saying that he has decor tiles that are placed large enough floors. Oh yeah, that totally makes sense. We kind of do that with Delver. You can specify in the section the info.dat, there are these gin info things. So for example, on textures that are ceiling lights, I spawn lights. And we have other rules too, where you can say there's a minimum required amount of room. So we can certainly spawn props in. It's just you have to be careful because it doesn't. You can break connectivity, so it's better if these things are purely decorative and not necessarily blocking movement. But yeah, no, the gin info just takes a series of tile indexes, and then you can give it a list of things to potentially spawn there, which is cool. For my entities, I wanted to add just one for. So this is the entity with light. And I think it could be cool if the light has a chance to have a grate in front of it. So that's going to be kind of a. Let me try. how would I do that? So it needs to be kind of like this one, where it's two prefabs. And this is for greeble 1 Bravo, so make a greeble 1 Charlie. And the base one is greeble 1 Alpha, I believe. No, greeble 1 Bravo. That's the one with the light. That's the one right here, and it has this light. And then this greeble 2 is the little grate thing. I don't want it to be a prefab. I want it to actually be this thing, and I want to specify always the texture that is the grate, so you can see. So it makes sense the light is shining through it. So it needs to be this alt texture here. I think this should do it. Let me quickly run it through the JSON validator. So I have a feeling I've messed something up. Nope, it's okay. Let me give that a whirl. So if I right-click, Entity, Example Meshes, 1 Charlie. Okay, I goofed something up. Let me place it as an Entity, Example Meshes, greeble 1 Charlie. Right-click, Ungroup, and let's look at this. This is greeble 1 Bravo. Yep, Bravo is correct. And then this needs to actually come forward, it looks like. Yeah, let me try just doubling it on this x-axis, I think. Yeah. So Bravo, and then the x needs to be. Let's try that. Let's try that. Anton says, "Do you have tiles larger than 1 unit?" So all the rooms in Delver are 17 by 17 tiles. We certainly have models that are larger, but the tiles themselves are always of this size. One Charlie. It's still not correctly positioned. Did I place it as a ungroup? If I select. So if I pull it here to JSON, yeah, that looks correct. It looks like it's not capturing the X. No. Weird. It's not outputting X and Y because it's not part of a group. I'm pretty sure oh, that's the collision, not the actual. So I need to actually move the X component of this model forward. So let's try X and 0.125. One Charlie. And it didn't seem to move it at all, which is weird. Oh, I moved it the wrong direction, so it's the wrong axis. Okay, so let's try the Y axis then. don't know why I did that. Sorry. Example meshes, 1 Charlie. Yep, there we go. Sweet. Now the Z needs to be fixed because the Z is still too low. Yeah, because yup. Example meshes 1 Charlie. Nice. That is right where we want it. Cool. So if we have file open, we can look at our, and because the way we have these defined, it should just pull into our example level. Even though like now it's just one of the many combinations that potentially could happen. So there's no real way to guarantee it unless you actually place the model. Actually, maybe I'll slap another one right there. Oh, there's one. Nope, that's not the light one. Wow. Yeah, now that the combinations are getting higher and higher, it's less likely I'm going to see any particular combination. Actually, let me make sure I even hook that up correctly. So for greeble 1, yeah, see, greeble 1 Charlie's not even an option, so we should probably add that in there. There we go. There we go. Now it will appear. Because I was silly. Yep, right off the bat. Sweet. Yep, that's cool. Nice. Again, just trying to breathe some life into the stuff. So, you know, like ceiling greebles would be nice because we can actually have those placed way more. Like we just have a probability for the ceiling tiles. We don't have a wall decorator because it's a little bit harder to do. But ceiling and floor decorators are a pretty easy thing to do. Yep, no, Chris is absolutely right. You could just define that way too. You could have the prefab set up so that it will spawn either higher or lower, just by adding an option, just by creating a second definition with a different z property. Or sometimes what could be interesting is like if you wanted them in pairs, like you could define. There's a chance that these things just come together like stacked, right? That might be an interesting thing to do. It makes it harder to place because you have to make sure there's plenty of vertical room for them. And maybe they look a little silly that close. But maybe if I gave it like a little bit more room to breathe, kind of just center them on the tiles. I don't know, just thinking like these are things you could certainly do. Like stuff like that looks cool. Yeah, I'm going to save that because it's interesting. And I'll give you some more 3D modeling, I suppose. I mean, what would you folks like to see? Yeah. Anton is saying that I need more normal map and bloom. I believe your game has all kinds of crazy visual effects like that. I think we do so. We certainly like we have a balance between like pixel art and non-pixel art in our game. Like the lighting is certainly like way more modern. I'm either thinking either of doing like the catwalk thing, or maybe trying to think of these of larger procedural elements that I can use to make the level feel. Because right now, like it certainly doesn't feel. It feels a little different, but like you could still feel it feels pretty samey. So I'm trying to think of having larger. Yeah, I can do the catwalk stuff. That'd be a good thing to do. It shouldn't be too terribly hard. Actually, let me. I haven't eaten lunch yet. Let me get a quick bite. I'll be right back. And how about 1400? Cool. I'll make a quick sandwich and I'll be right back. Thank you for your patience, folks. All right, I am back. Thanks for letting me have a quick bite. It seems like without fail, I always I'm running around like a crazy person before my stream trying to get things put together, and I always forget to eat. So for this catwalk above the goo, it would probably just be easiest just to do something like actually, let me do something like, let me just block in where I think this sample goo might live, right? Let's do something like this. Let me turn off paint adjacent because I don't necessarily want that. Then make the floor our nice goo texture. Then make our selection again so we have the correct handles this time. And then we'll drop this down. Let's give it, so I want to make, I think the catwalk maybe half a unit tall, so give that some room to breathe. And then that could be okay for the time being. And I basically want to have the catwalk kind of come down the middle here. So let me go ahead and just for the time being save this. So we have that working. And then maybe it'll be like a switch or something you have to walk across to flip there. I don't know. Like it's for some design reason you'd want to have a catwalk over the slime. Yeah, the green light works out pretty darn good, and all it is it's just it is straight up green. Like there is no other hue to it. It is just full on green. But I think in some ways Delver's cartoony, so I think it works out in our favor to be a little silly sometimes. Okay, so let's go over to our Blender file, and let me see. It's probably going to be it's a bit so. Let me just really quickly block it in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this. This is just a plane with my texture sheet on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit go to edit mode. I'm going to do some cuts on it. I'm going to cut it, the number of columns, and then the number of tiles. So now I can just pull out individual bits that I like. So I'm going to go into face mode, and let's select this one. So I hit Shift D to duplicate and P to separate by selection, and then maybe this thing here is cool. So again, duplicate and separate. And then again, hide that, and then I have these two pieces. There might be a lot of darkness. We'll see. Let's get in a little bit closer. Let's tag, edge mode, cursor to selected. Then let's rotate about our pivot. Okay, let's rotate on the X 90, minus 90. Right now I'm just trying to block things in. The texture will certainly be different than this. And then maybe get Z 0.5, and again I can cut it and then just delete this top face because I don't need it. Let me see, face, Shift S, cursor to selected. Let's do origin to geo, and Shift S, cursor to selected. Here I can also cursor to, or origin to 3D cursor, and then 7, 5, 7, 5. Then I'm going to go to Shift, I'm going to duplicate this, rotate it 90 degrees, then hit Shift R to repeat that. So now we should have something like that. And again, real quick and dirty, I'm just going to duplicate this. And I'm going to join these. I'm going to select everything, recalculate the normals. So all normals. Let's remove doubles. Now recalculate the normals. There we go. And that should be an okay start. Oh, these are all different. Okay, I didn't realize that. Let me select everything, join, then Control E, remove doubles. W, remove doubles. There we go. Now this should be what we want. Let me just make sure I just give it a wiggle. Okay, there's nothing missing. Let me grab this bottom face, cursor is selected, and then let me set the origin of the 3D cursor, then Alt G to recenter this on the origin of the 3D space, and then let me export this sucker out. That's just a temp. So file, export, OBJ, selection only, don't write out materials, want to triangulate the faces. Let's go up, no, up, meshes, example. We're going to call this catwalk.obj. Export. Cool. So now we ought to be able to, without reloading this, we should be able to add it. So let's go real quick, right-click Entity, Example Meshes, Railing, and then I only do this because it has the correct path up here. So I can say, instead of railing straight, I can say catwalk. And then instead of railing.ping, I'm using the texture sheet, so textures, or example tiles, I think is what I called it, example tiles. There we go. Let's fix the collision volume, so it should just be 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. There we go. And now we can snap this sucker above the green goop. I'm just going to kind of duplicate it along the way. There we go. Let's go ahead and get rid of that railing piece so we can actually go down. There we go. Nice. But several folks brought up the fact that we probably ought to make it have some alpha value so we can see through it, which makes it a little bit more interesting. And I tend to agree. So let's just think about what that might look like. Because yeah, definitely falling into this would be death. It's pretty thick. I think the thickness on it looks cool, but it might be too thick, or I don't know. Okay. Whoa. Okay. I like the two different like layers on the side there. I'm just thinking. It's that grumbling sound. That's over. Yep. Yep. I don't know. I'm just trying to be mindful of my proportions, is all. You know. let me just try something real quick. Let me save this and let me close it. And then here, let's go to top view. I think I tried to build this on the grid. Let me see. So that, yeah, that does kind of line up nicely. Okay, so let's do, select the top face. Let's do inset. Get this sucker right in there. And that's Shift S, selection to grid. And then go over here and Shift S, selection to pixels. And that should snap everything back to pixel perfection. Let me think. I want to, let's delete this face because we're probably going to do the same thing. Faces. Delete that. What I can do, so let's, I'm going to cut this, and let me, I'm just trying to think. Two says, I got here, what is Night District? Yeah. So Night District is the name of a old project that that never happened. But I have some art left over from it, so I'm repurposing it for Delver. Okay, so there's our hole, and maybe I can just do some sort of like dangly dangly bits on the side here just to provide maybe a little bit of interest. And also I probably want to do some alpha thing right there. But let me go and just re-export this real quick and just see if this is a general direction that I like where it's going. OBJ catwalk. Export. Sweet. So I think this would work if I just put a simple grade above this. I think this would still work as a catwalk. And I'm thinking maybe having some sort of like alpha bits in the bottom there to make it look a little interesting. Otherwise, I can't just chop them off. 2 says, this stuff looks sci-fi, how would it fit into Delver? So it doesn't fit into Delver directly. So for the next update in March, we are releasing Steam Workshop support. And wow, I'm like my face is like being blinded. Give me a second. We are releasing Steam Workshop support, and for the workshop support, I'm releasing an example mod that will be on the workshop that adds a sci-fi dungeon for Delver. And the sci-fi dungeon is also open source, so people can look and see how it is made. So it's just to be a little silly, but also to maybe entice people to actually make stuff for Delver. Okay. All right. Let me think that's okay. I think, like what Chris was suggesting, I think I just need to select all these. I'm going to duplicate them, and I'm going to flip them, just so you have something like that. And I think this needs to have its own texture, so let me go ahead and work on breaking that out into its own texture. I think 64 by 64 should be sufficient. Yeah. So let's do that. Let's do file new 64 64 create. Let's zoom in. Let's add a new layer. Delete the background, and then I want to file open textures. I'm just going to copy in these. Let's give this one like that. Control C, Control V, and then kind of put it up here. And I'll just make this center alpha out, and that'll be fine. Actually, I might not even need that much texture space, but maybe I want to do some other stuff. So I can just copy this, Control V, just slam that right there for the time being. Let me merge it down. File, save as, ping, and I'll call this catwalk. So Javier is pointing out, I don't think you can see the bottom inside from the top of the catwalk. So are you talking about this? Also, let's go ahead and I think, is this using a material? Yes, it is. So let's go ahead and click the plus sign to create a new material. And then over here, we want to have a new texture. It's going to be a new image. So let me just tab into here, A, and then image, open image, and I want catwalk.ping open. It's going to mess up our textures, but that's okay. Maybe real quick, let's just also make sure I'm not goofing up. Yeah, I'm not. Okay, so I did do it correctly. Okay, cool. And then let's Shift S, cursor to selected. Then let's scale about that pivot. I think 2 in the Y, so scale Y 2. That squares things up nicely. And then I can just snap this. Actually, let me just go get X minus 32. Nope. Get X minus 16. Get Y 16. And then Shift S, cursor to selected. Scale everything up by 2. Then I can get Y 16. There we go. That should get us back to where we were. Hey, Avram. Thanks for stopping by. And then I can really quickly just let's go into edge mode. Select these edges. Hit F to create a face. Select everything. Make sure it's using catwalk.ping. And go this face. Which way is it facing? Let's turn on our normals. So that face is facing down. Go into face mode. Select it. Flip it. There we go. 7 U. Project from view. Alt Z. Then let's just grab this over here. Just try to get it. Let's turn the not to scale about the pivot anymore, but to scale about that, and then Shift S selected the pixels. That should snap it into place nicely. Okay, and then I can duplicate that, and then flip it so it faces down. Cool. Oh, do I have? Oh, interesting. Control Z, 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 Z. Okay, so let me Shift D and then there we go. Now you turn off my normal helpers, and that should be cool for the time being. So let me file, export, OBJ. It's save over catwalk. It's preserved all of our options, so that's cool. Let's go back into Photoshop real quick. And we're going to kind of look at these greebles and kind of look at this pattern I have going on here. Maybe I can just get some more use out of that. So here, Control V. Let me go down here. On the mesh, it looks like, yeah, it's the light side where that starts. So in Photoshop, select this and just delete it, and go up here and then see if we can kind of make this work. Okay, it's gonna need some love, but I think we can make it work. Oh, hey, greetings, Ibram. No worries. Okay, let's just go ahead and just start. Seeing if we can make this stuff work and not look awful. We could, what if I slid all these over? That might be okay. Let's merge that down. Let's save it. File, save as, ping, catwalk. Yep. And let's go to Delver. Launch the Delve editor. File open. Mods. We'll open up our test level. Yep, these are all messed up because we changed the texture. That's okay. Let's just go here, and this should be now catwalk. Sweet. I think I actually accidentally flipped it, so let me spin that. For some reason, I'm also flipping that. Okay. Why? Eventually, we'll probably want to make a prefab out of this too, so we don't have to keep recreating this. So yeah, so we got this. You can look down, you can see it. I think that works. I think it's enough space to convey what's going on. Maybe touch up these side bits a little bit. Trying to figure out why, like what alpha stuff would look interesting. I could do a pattern just like the simple railing here. That might be okay. Let's try that. Okay, so save. Then let's close that, and then let's go into Photoshop and just see if we can make a simple little thing. Oh. What's going on? Photoshop is being really sensitive for some odd reason. Yep, Evrim is right. This is built using libgdx, which is a framework built on top of LWJGL. Okay. Again, I'm just kind of freestyling here. I don't really have anything terribly in mind. The highlight doesn't make sense. It actually should probably just be a darker. To indicate that maybe that is kind of going underneath a little bit. That's all right-ish. Can probably live with that. Yeah, let's save that. Yep. Yep. The relaunch Delver. How hot is it where I live? It is. It's 9 degrees Celsius. Or for me, it is 49 degrees Fahrenheit. And I even have my window open too. It's nice. It has been snowing, but yeah, I tend to prefer to be on the cold side versus the hot side. Cool. So we got that, which I think that works out okay-ish. Should I design them so they can be placed together and look okay? Let me try fiddling with that a little bit. Let me try. Okay, let me go here and brush. Do something like this, like that, and then this is a width of 3, so maybe make this a width of 4. So there should be 2 there, 2 there. Erase all this stuff. Back to brush mode. Clean all this junk up. Cool. I think that should work out okay. Do I want to highlight on this at all? Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, 24 degrees Celsius probably is pretty warm. Yeah, that's nice. That's it's comfortable. Stupid Photoshop. Let me save it as ping one last time. Yep. Okay. And then let me close it because for some reason it wants it to be untitled in the file. Open reset or open. Let's just open up Catwalk as ping so it stops prompting me to save it. Maybe make my loop a little bit faster. Okay, so back here. Load. Cool. And play. Cool, you can see through there. Yeah, then you got that nice little thing too. Yeah, it looks all right. I guess it gives it a sufficiently like industrial-esque look. Also, what does it look like? I think Javier mentioned something like this. Maybe if you can actually see it from the underside. Let's see if that also holds up. So let's just Let's just slam these in the middle of the room and see what they look like, because, you know, why not? It's also, I mean, it's like there are some efficiencies to design. Like if you know your asset's only going to be seen from a certain angle, like you don't have to necessarily design a bottom. But if you do, that also gives your prop a little bit more like usability. Like you can do stuff um, like you can't have it seen from underneath, and that kind of be okay. Like they might be able to be repurposed to something else. You get a lot of Z fighting though, which is kind of gross. Um, if I made it 4, it would probably fix that. So I'm just thinking, like, I think what I did is I made, if you look at the grid, this is not quite. So if I made this one just a little bit wider, that way they'll all be nice and the same, right? They'll all be 4. Just save that, and then now I shouldn't occur that. I mean, there still will be Z fighting, but it should see the same color. This should be the same color, so it shouldn't actually matter. Let's see if my theory is correct. Everyone says it's not going to fix the Z fighting. I'm just curious. I think it might make it less noticeable. We'll see. Also, it also depends on how different the lighting is for each object too. And that's not high enough. Let's pull these up. There we go. Uh-oh, Evram. So you get Z fighting down here, but the Z fighting in the middle, you don't see. Yeah. I mean, the Z fighting is still happening. It's just they happen to be the same color value, so not as noticeable, if at all. Cool. Yeah, and you could maybe these could also be like again repurposed for other interesting things as well. But yeah, like that right there is definitely a problem with the Z fighting there. You just have to be careful like how you have these displayed. Like when you're walking on top of them, it's way less noticeable than when you're walking underneath them. So usually you just do tricks to work around this. Like you can just like I can just nudge it one direction or the other. Just barely move it. There we go. Now it should be inside the wall. And it doesn't quite line up there. Maybe I can go the other direction. Another trick too is you can make it just you can scale it a little bit. You know, people fiddle with these all the time. Again, yeah, that's an okay solution. You can't really tell that I've done that. Things still seem to be okay. So again, it's just because it's snapped to the grid. It's you see that Z fighting. And what Z fighting is when two triangles are perfectly aligned, the computer doesn't always know which bits to draw on top of it, so it just kind of selects at random, and that's why you get these weird artifacts. Yep, and everyone's saying you can actually just do this in the model as well. You can just scale them down just a touch so they don't actually line up. Yep. They will make them line up, but you'll still see the gaps on the sides here. I'm not so worried about this use case. This might very well be the exception and not the norm. And to be honest, I think the easiest way to fix this, you know, just add an additional one and then move it over. Oh, they're saying just the inner 4 ones. Yep, that could certainly be. Again, I don't know if it's that big of a deal. Hey, Gunner Live 12. Yep. No, again, like Z fighting is there's all sorts of things that you can do. Um, Flip this upside down? We could certainly do that. Let me just grab one of these suckers and create a duplicate. Let's put it on the floor. And you can just, I think any of one of these axes, I can go over here, rotation, just make it 180. Be careful though, because it does goof up the collision. If you see, even though I rotated the mesh, the bounding box still uh, it still assumes that the mesh is vertical. So that's something you have to be careful about when working with these meshes. But yeah, no, it also, I mean, you could use it like this as well for something, perhaps. Who knows? Or you could even like somehow like put these all together. I don't know why, but again, just having fun with these props, you know? Because we use axis-aligned bounding boxes, they don't have a concept of rotation. Yep. No, I mean, you can make just again like sometimes these sci-fi structures can be kind of abstract, and it's cool to have props that you can kind of use in multiple ways, you know. And I think eventually at one point, when this kit is done, I'd like to have the community get together and make levels for this example set, which I think would be a fun thing to do. It's probably going to still be a little ways out, but you're always welcome to take a look at the again the repo is github.com/Joshua Skelly/Delaware-example mods. These are where the example mods live, so you can see what we have now. Many of these example mods require an early build of update 14. If you are looking at building something for this, please let me know. But yeah, we've had a handful of contributors so far, which is pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, I think kind of like what I was talking about earlier too is like having these small props provide variety is cool, but it's not really a lot. Like it would be nice to have larger props that can kind of definitely like break up the space more, like large features. Um, these catwalks are definitely cool. And again, it probably works out too, where you could, if you really wanted to make the user, the player feel safe, you could grab one of these. I think you should be able to snap it in, I believe. Along the edge here. Dupe that to the other side. Again, it all depends on what I guess the level design goal is, because you know now it's a way more safe catwalk, but potentially like you have no room to dodge. So just things to think about. And I could probably put that railing corner in there somehow, but again, these are nice little things that when you start having these building block pieces, you can start slamming stuff together, which is fun. We should be able to somehow make this work, though I might have to fudge a little. Yeah. Let's see. I think there's probably gonna be some Z fighting on the railing. A little, yeah. I should probably make a half size railing just for those cases, but yeah. I'm trying to make my kits as simple as they can be and that they snap nicely to the grid. That's not always easily accomplishable. Sweet. So yeah, you can make crazy catwalk levels now if you wanted to have like I don't know. I mean, I think the green provides a nice also like color, like a color contrast as well to the kind of the blacks, whites, and reds. There's still something up with how these collision boxes are working, so let's get rid of that. Cool. Let me think. Yeah. I'm thinking I should make some larger scale props to kind of place in the room here to break it up, but you have to be careful in placing these to make sure that they aren't in places that could potentially obstruct uh, the connectivity of an area. But I'm thinking maybe I don't know, like big pillars or some kind of weird sci-fi structures that can be used. Also, like ductwork would be cool too. Um, that would make sense why like this was a duct and not just the weird catwalk thing. That would make more sense why it's cutting across the ceiling. Um, but again, that's not really a large detail. It's kind of a medium-sized detail. Actually, I have 15 minutes left, so um, let me go ahead and just make sure I don't lose all this stuff. So let's save that. Let's copy. Oh, hang on. Let's go look at our repo. Let's switch over to this. Let's go ahead and copy this out. Replace all. I think we have quite a few changes now. New entities, the test level's been changed, added a catwalk object, greeble objects, catwalk ping seems okay. These greebles 2 and 3 I didn't do anything with, so I'll get rid of them for the time being. Discard changes. Discard changes. I think greeble 0 we don't use anymore either. So we have greeble 0, greeble 1. That seems right. So I'll put greeble work. Commit and sync. Miblik says delicious textures. Thank you for the kind words. I try to make nice art for my game. Since there is about 15 minutes left, I'm just going to go ahead and play my game a little bit and kind of talk through it. So I started the stream that way. Maybe I'll end it that way too. Okay. Play. And also, if you folks are doing stuff for Delver, if you're making a mod or making fan art, please let me know. You can email it to me, and I will show it off at the end of my stream. I know folks have done this in the past. Chris there in chat is working on a Hyperlight Delver mod, which is pretty cool. That adds some Hyperlight Drifter items to the game. I know Nickman has sent me some. Ooh, Lucky Dagger. So Nickman has sent me some levels that they've made. So I really dig this stuff. So feel free to send it to me. Speed or agility, doesn't matter. Actually, for fun, let's go ahead and just let's go down to the sewers. I rarely play that on the stream, and it should be fun trying to watch me not die while getting through the sewers. Because I should be usually expect you to be a little bit higher level when you come here. So So this will be interesting. And also, I think people have mentioned that the sewers does need a little bit more variety, and that is on my list of things to do before the final 1.0 release. Yeah. Oh man, got myself in a corner. No items either. This might be a short run. Yeah. Yeesh. Out! And I'm on fire. Okay, I was on fire. I stepped in the water and now I'm not. Yeah. It seems like the item drops in the sewers aren't as... Crap. I was hoping I could hop over that. Aren't as plentiful as some of the other areas as well. Maybe it's something I need to revisit. Or maybe I just need to start killing things and not running from them. Either way. So there's bones over there, but it's not going to help me. Okay, let's slow you. Let's see if I can finish you. Right, use the lucky dagger, I suppose. Ah! He one-hit me. Ephraim says, how do we handle AABB slopes? Well, by definition, we don't, right? So Javier says, for some reason, the item prefixes and suffixes don't get the localized string. I sent you an email about that and other things. Here, let me check it out. Real quick, let me quit, and I can just install Javier's Spanish localization. So let's just go to the master branch, and then I'm just going to copy over language pack ES, put it in my mods directory, and fire up Delver. Oh, I guess there are slopes. You'd have to talk to Chad about that. Yeah. So I think Javier is saying, like, for example, when I find items, they should. Okay, so like if it's like a dagger of fire or something like that, it should have the prefix and suffixes. Arco corto gastada. I think it's a short bow of something. Maybe the quality is the gastada. I'm not. My Spanish is bad. What do I want? Health. Health is good. Ice wand. That guy. It's going to be kind of a like we don't have a good way in the debug menu to actually drop items with enchantments. Well, I guess I could. Let me try. Let me try this. Let me K scrolls. I think this is a enchant weapon scroll. And then if I equip this, and if I use my enchant weapon scroll, enchanted. Interesting. Oh. And let me it's a haste scroll. Let me try that again. Let's go melee 1. I think it's a mace. Yep. And then let's do scrolls again. Enchant weapon scroll. And then equip the mace. Let's get rid of that and enchant it. Yeah, it keeps something is wrong. I will definitely look into that. Yeah, that's not correct. Yeah, something is going on. Yeah, Daga de Hierro enchanted. Yeah. That's strange. Let me play and see if I can find something else that is. That might be a hard-coded thing. I'm not sure if we find one the generator makes, if it will be different or not. Yeah, Javier. I was also talking to Louis Carl, and he was trying to. I think the three of us can figure out a good solution to having masculine, feminine, and neuter nouns. It is something I want to fix because I think it gives it a better experience. So I think Louis Carl, for the time being, was using a parenthesized E in French. I think he can get away with that, but I don't think it's the same in Spanish. So I would also do some reading because I'm gonna try to make this a good solution and one that is easy for folks to use. So armadura de cuero excelente. Let me see. Let me give myself an identify scroll. Okay. Teleportation de llamas. Is that the identity? Man, there we go. Identification. Ah! In trouble. Nimble. Is that? I don't think that's correct either. Yep. Yeah, I said Javier. You also saw a. Yeah, I saw your email as well. I think I might go ahead and create the translation subforum on the Steam forums, just so we can have a little bit more of an open discussion about it. So who folks who are interested can also weigh in. So I think we are solving, issues that have been solved before. Yeah, it's strange. Let me just take a quick peek. Because if I look, let me close this. Let me go ahead and just open up file, open folders that I really want to do, and let's go to just open up this whole directory. And the English, does that have Nimble in it? Nimble, okay, that should be fine. And then ES. That should be there. Then let me take a peek at its item.shop maybe. I think it's the info string. So there should be one that is also like, yeah, item name text. This is the one I'm looking for. Okay. No, excuse me, it's getting a little chilly in here. Okay. It might just be me looking up the stuff for all these right here. Might be the issue I'm having. Prefix enchantment. Yeah. Because I think for display name, yeah, so for display name, I ask the string manager to give me back the localized string, and I'm just simply not doing that for all this stuff. So this really should be string manager.get. There we go. Condition text. Condition text. Okay, yeah, so that one is already translated. And then this one probably needs to be string manager.get. Oh, unless this maybe this item modification. Might have to, the item mod might also need to be owning where it's translated. That might be the better thing to do. Let me see, this ought to work. And then let me think about where the actual string lookup should probably live. So let's look. Enchanted. Oh, unfortunately, I think once you, well, let me go down a level. I'm trying to think. This guy might have some items that may or may not work for this. The yellow, that's so that is cold. Espada corta enjollada. So that seems to be okay, right? I think. Also, because the armor was the nimble. So what I'm thinking is yeah. So that one actually picked up okay. Cool. Yep. So it looks like I just omitted that. That's my bad. I will find a good fix for it, and I will go ahead and I will send out you folks on the thread an updated build. Actually, I'll just probably just update the link I sent you, and then I'll send you out a new email. Because I'm pretty sure Louis Carl is going to be also running into this as well. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thank you, Sutin. That's very kind of you to say. Yeah. So again, there are certainly wrinkles to be ironed out, but I'm happy that we are making good progress on the localization work. It's something that I think is very important, and that's why I took the time to start working on it. Crap. Okay, so oh well. Goodbye, Delver. There's something up with the spacing on this screen, and I'm not quite sure what. This might be something for Chad to look into. I know, like with some of the with some versions of libgdx, we've had some issues with the spacing of text on a multi-monitor setup, and most of it has been fixed, I thought, but maybe not all of it. But yeah, no, that all looks okay as well, except for the positioning of the silly menu. Cool. And these buttons I need to fix. Yeah, that's just me padding out the button text. Because here I do it correctly, but not in all the menus. So I just need to do a quick audit of the buttons, make sure that they give enough room for the text that's being put in there. And then options, those look good. Head bob, show HUD. That doesn't seem right. Maybe let me take a look. It might be something I just haven't put in. Yeah. Oh man. should all be up here again. Thank you both to Javier and Louis Carl for being patient with me and working with me and trying to figure out this stuff. Cool. Yeah, Javier, I'll read it over more in more depth. I kind of skimmed it before I started my stream because this morning I was busy, cooking. My wife cooked breakfast, but playing around with my son, and I got to sleep in a little bit, which was nice. Yeah. So there's still work to be done. Cool. I think we're coming up on the 3 hour mark. So I think I'm going to go ahead and kind of call it here. Let me think. Oh. I think it's been a productive stream. I got some cool stuff made for the sci-fi stuff. I don't want to get too caught up in that though. I need to eventually call it as good as it's going to get, and then make some levels for it, and then push on. Because ideally, this stuff will be ready for public consumption sometime in March, and I'd like to get done before March, so I have some time to kind of bake and make sure and be like kind of verified on our end before we ship out the update. But yeah, I'm getting excited about where we are. We made good progress. And I guess I just want to thank all of you folks, the folks who have purchased Delver. That directly supports me financially, and it means the world to me that you support me that way. Also thank you for watching my streams. That also is a great motivating factor for me. I look forward to every regular stream on Sundays. It's like the highlight of my day. I will see you folks. I believe Wednesday. I've tried to make Wednesday a normal regular stream day, but it looks like my daycare situation might be changing, so I may have to cancel my Wednesday stream, but my Sunday stream is here to stay. So if I don't see you folks next Wednesday, I will see you in another week on Sunday. All right, everybody, take care and have a good rest of your day. Bye.